reports. March 2020 impressed account report, April impressed account, May 2020 impressed account, March 2020 activity account, April 2020 activity account, May 2020 activity account, May statement and financial condition, May 2020 fund balance summary. Do I have to read all the vouchers for payrolls and bills? We can do that as a whole?
Yeah.
Okay, total for Eisenhower Cooperative voucher, $154,255.19. And then we have another voucher for $415,030.69 and $415,000. Wait, $415,571.34. Okay, that's it. Right?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Mrs. Lammel.
Here's where are you? We lost her.
Looks like she may have dropped for a minute. Mrs. Egan?
Aye.
Mr. Hillman?
Aye.
Ms. Davenport?
Aye.
Mrs. Callen?
Aye.
And Mrs. Salzer?
Aye. Did we lose Tirza?
Yeah.
We need to wait a minute, don't we? So we can get her vote?
Yeah,
we have enough for a quorum, right?
yes, we do.
Yeah. So we'll,
We can go?
yeah.
Okay, Dr. Thorns, you're up.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you didn't lose any power. We lost it very briefly here at the district office and knocked the internet off for a little while, but Gino and Bill were able to get us back running. So hopefully we'll be able to keep that going tonight so that we can get through this meeting. First, we just wanted to touch base on the enrollment report. Has not changed at all since we've talked over the last couple months. The exciting news is, and I know I've shared this before, but we had over 1,000 people register online, which is just fantastic for doing it the first time. And in my guess, probably the way we're going to continue to move forward with it. And then yesterday was our first day that we opened the district office for in-person new student registration. And just so you know how that we have our district office open from 8 to 3, and Dot is taking appointments from 9 to 2. And pretty much every single spot was filled. She was getting calls all day to fill those throughout the next couple weeks. And it seemed to go really, really nice. We're only letting one family in at a time so that we can clean anything that needs to be cleaned. And one of the nice byproducts of that is we're really able to give full-on attention to that family. Don't have other families coming in, and they just seem like they're able to get through it and ask the questions that they need. So hopefully it's an okay experience. And we are requiring everyone who comes in to wear a mask. And if they don't have one, we can provide it for them. So it's so far so good, and hopefully we'll keep moving in that direction. So, under the vacant positions and possible staffing needs for the 2021 school year, I really just want to point out that we are really pushing right now to get a float custodian hired. So I know Kathy has been working diligently on trying to get people in for final interviews and to continue to talk with them. And then we do still on the list, we have 2 4th grade teachers that we will be looking to fill later in this meeting. Under complaint managers for the 2021 school year, I will once again want to appoint Carrie Hilgons and Kathy Picciolini to serve as the district's complaint managers. People are not banging down the door asking to be on that. So they get to continue in that role. And then it takes us to 6.4, which is the Partnership for Resilience. I've been really, really happy with our work with the partnership. This was our 2nd year, and the first year it was kind of just figuring out exactly what it was about. And this year we were able to put Leanne Kazmarek and Julie Bazian in charge of our partnership with them. And they've really just flourished in those roles, bringing different ideas and just really arranging how the committees are set up so that people aren't hearing the same things over and over again, but are really concentrated in a specific area. We brought the mobile care vans out for the dental work. We would have done even more if it wasn't for the shutdown. It's something we're definitely looking forward to continuing with. And one of the things we focused on all of our Institute days was spending at least part of each Institute Day on teacher self-care. We know how important that is, that people don't get burned out, and to be reminded of different ways that we can take care of ourselves. And when we're feeling good about ourselves, we oftentimes produce that much better work, I think, which is always a great thing. And on June 17th, we will have a team of teachers. I think we're up to 10 between teachers and administrators who will be attending the family engagement during the pandemic, because just because our school is closed for the year doesn't mean our kids don't need us and our families don't need us during this summer. It's still such a weird time that we want to be able to support them. And so we're hoping we'll get some new ideas that we haven't even thought of when we meet with other districts. And later on in the meeting, we'll be asked to renew that contract, which is at $6,250 to stay in the partnership along with the other districts. So I don't know if anyone had any questions on the partnership, but so far it's been a really, really good year with that. And then next takes us down to the summer professional development, which kind of ties in with the Partnership for Resilience. We could be doing a lot of different types of PD right now. I think everyone knows that remote learning is something that just about every district in the state wants to improve. And we are definitely going to be doing some of that, but we do want to make sure also that that's something that we're going to need to have when we come back in the fall. And we're supposed to get some more guidance from the state in about 2 weeks. They said the third week of June as to exactly what we might be looking at as far as reopening. And they didn't offer any other details besides that, but we received that email yesterday afternoon. And so we don't want to put all of our PD into remote learning right now if that's not what we're going to be doing when we come back. But we also have time at the end of July and early August that we'd be able to focus on that remote learning. So right now, we want to focus on the social emotional standards, because whether we're in person or remote, that's something that we're definitely going to have to look at. And I have talked to MCMI about working with our newly hired math coaches so that they can be providing the PD for our teachers, because again, math is something that we're going to be doing whether it's in person or remote. And we do know that we need to continue to get stronger in that. So. Any questions with summer PD?
I have a question. Have you done some sort of reflection and like what, even though you don't want to have specific PD towards remote learning, like what did go well, what needs to change, what do we still need to learn about?
Yeah, so our administrators led at their own buildings at different teams, with each team talking about what went well, what was okay, and what were things that just we really needed to work on. And the biggest thing for our teachers that came back is understanding Google Classroom features and making sure that we streamline it for our parents. And that, I was glad to hear that, because when we looked at our parent surveys, we saw that many of them were just said it was too confusing. After the first couple weeks and they got into it and understood it, they were okay. And overall, I was happy that most people said it was exact, for the most part, what they were looking for. But it really took some time for them to get that. And both parents and teachers said that it would be good for us to offer families PD on the remote learning of how to help their kids and what they should be looking for.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and like I said, we heard it from both sides. So that's something in August that if we're going remote learning, we definitely want to provide. So.
You know, if we're going to use this too for possible snow days and things like that, wouldn't it be wise to do at least something on it? I mean, it's kind of hectic right now, you know, with everything, and God knows what's going to happen for the fall. But I mean, but once we get all situated and where we're going here, it might be a good idea to do that anyhow in preparation.
Yeah, if we move forward with that for, let's say, snow days or any emergency type days, we definitely want to make sure that we're still offering a good education. If we are saying we don't need to have school that day in person, we still don't want to just say, well, you're staying home and it's kind of a half day. We don't want it to happen. We still want it to be a good education. And
you could always provide like a simple refresher when and if it's needed.
Yeah, well, and it should be something, I mean, when I think this year, when I meet with the new teachers coming on who were student teaching, that's going to have to be part of it if we're going that route, or if it's something we could ever be doing with a snow day. That now has to be worked into it every year. So
Yeah, and the days count then if we do this, right?
correct. Yep.
So we don't have to make it up at the end of the year.
Correct.
Okay.
And then 6.6 is our illustrative math pilot. If you remember, back before all the COVID stuff started, we did approve the 6 to 8 math program for illustrative math. And we did want to give it more time for our elementary district who piloted Bridges this past year and just really didn't feel comfortable enough moving forward with it. I am excited to start a pilot at the same time that we'll be having math coaches come on to really support it and continue to ask those tough questions of the teachers. And when they maybe don't feel comfortable with something, really digging deep into why that is. Is it the program? Is it more just the math knowledge that is going on, and really digging into that? And so we do have teachers at 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade who volunteered to pilot it. So we are excited to get that started, and it will continue to be Demetra and I who really focus on that. I think it's important that we continue to use her background in math to help us through that. And they did have a brief meeting before the end of the year where the company did share some PDFs of what the materials look like, so they at least had those going into the summer. But they'll also have a full-on Institute Day with those materials at the start of the year. So you will be asked to approve that later in the meeting.
Okay.
And the next one, 6.7, this is one of those more exciting things to talk about, the Triple I Conference in November. Usually by now they've already gotten ready to open registration. I think it's usually around July 1st, but that's been postponed until July 27th, I think, as they were trying to figure out exactly what was going on. And if you are planning on going and getting the discount conference rate, we're asking that you let Lori know by July 15th. And obviously a lot can change. This is one of those years that I think everyone has to make their own kind of personal decision, that if this is something that they feel comfortable going into the city and staying in the hotel and going to a conference with thousands of people. But I think we know that overall this still is a very good conference. And then I wrote in the second paragraph in the summation, my cousin, who has been engaged for a very long time, finally picked a date, and of course picked the Friday night of the conference. He did ask me to stand up in his wedding, which I'm very happy to do. He's my much younger cousin. So I would not be in attendance Friday night. Obviously the board is more than welcome to kind of do what they've always done. But I would also be interested if people wanted to try to get together sometime in January to join everyone a little more locally. I think that would be fine. And we obviously have a lot of time to decide that. But I wanted to let the board know that unfortunately I would not be in attendance on Friday night. So, all right. All right, and then 6.8, the strategic plan, update on admin action plans. So I will be bringing those to you in July. We've been working on them as an admin team, but I did want to put that in here because we are going to be doing our recordings next week. All the administrators will be coming in to record their part. We're hoping to have about a 30 to 35-minute video that Gina will put together for us that we can post on our website. Because if you remember, most of the time in April, we bring our stakeholders together so that we can talk about everything that we've done over the past year and things that we still haven't gotten to, but here's our plan to get here. And that's what we're going to be doing. Nancy, as the board president, and I will be recording kind of an opening, turn it over to the 5 different areas, and then Nancy and I will kind of close it out. But I think it's really important for our stakeholders to still hear that even though we had all this stuff happen this year, that's why you have these plans in place, so you don't just forget about it and focus on the here and now, but you need to constantly be looking at your overarching goals moving forward into the future.
So that was part of the process, though, to come up with new goals and such. So how do you plan to address that?
Yeah, so we have talked about, and it really, we're looking at 6 months out of it, because we would be looking in January of starting the new plan with Dr. Madonia. And a lot of the goals, because it got cut short, we would still be looking at to continue on. And we've talked about it as a leadership team, and that's something we'll talk about at the board meeting about, are there other goals than what we have listed that you would like to see?
Okay.
And then I do have one other. Obviously, as we talked just a little while ago, we have no clue what's going to happen come the fall. Even when they release these guidance in a couple weeks, it's still just guidance, and it's going to be different for every single school district. And because of that, we are starting our administrator and teacher and paraprofessional and custodians are all going to come together. We have a 35 member team, and we're calling it the 2021 School Task Force, to really look at what our different options are for whether we're all in person, all remote learning, or some type of hybrid model that would kind of mix up both. And so we want to look at, as educators, everything that is out there, and all the way down to the smallest detail of what is it going to look like in some of these specific classrooms. And so we will be meeting throughout June to really get a plan. And we know it won't be a finished plan because we can't do that right now. And then once we have a better idea in July of what we are going to be looking at, that's when we'd like to bring in and really hear what some of our parents are thinking. Obviously, one of the concerns would be they need childcare, but are we going to be able to provide busing? Right now on a 72 passenger bus, if you do the correct social distancing, you'd only be able to get 12 students on there. That's going to be really impossible to do. So we have to look at all of these different scenarios. And I know a lot of districts, I was on our co-op board meeting, just said, well, we're not even going to touch anything until July 1st. And I think it's important to start looking at it now. And again, probably 50% of what we talk about isn't going to happen, but at least we're at that point when the guidance does come out that we can move forward from there. We'll start with those meetings tomorrow, and then after that, every Tuesday, the rest of the month. So,
Is there a board member on this task force?
not at this time, no. When we have a better idea of what our options are, that's when I wanted to bring board and community members on. Right now, we're just looking at like specifics, like, all right, in the classroom, when we say we have to have 36 square feet, how many people can we fit in this classroom? And like I said, once July rolls around, we should have at least an idea of what the guidance are, and maybe we can throw out one of these plans. And then when we start focusing on the other ones, that's when I want to bring other people in.
Well, it really doesn't matter which plan you use. They're all impossible.
Well,
You know.
I mean, obviously remote learning is possible, but we want to improve on what we did.
Well, yes, I didn't mean it like that, but yeah.
And I think it's really going to come down to what are going to be the rules that we're going to have to follow as far as in person. If they loosen some of those up, I think we'd be able to do some of it. If they don't, I just don't see at this point how it's going to happen. So
Yeah.
I saw your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know it's sort of totally premature and we haven't gotten there yet, but everyone has been talking about if we do hybrid, it would be all the grades at the same time, but take each individual class and break it down on how many kids they need. I think another option, I was just talking to one of my friends who is out in Naperville, and you know, we were just brainstorming the whole idea and what's good for the kids or whatever, just so I could get some different ideas. And I don't even necessarily know if you have to do each classroom one at a time. You could do the entire 6th grade one day and spread them through all of the classrooms. The next day do the entire 7th grade. The 3rd day do the entire 8th grade and rotate it that way. And then I think the bricks and mortar wouldn't be too much of a hindrance. But I know it's way ahead of the game. But I think maybe if people start thinking out of the box, it doesn't have to be each classroom individually has to hold that many people, but instead you could do a whole classroom and utilize the whole school for one level. But I'm just throwing that totally ahead of the game, but just so everyone, because, and I'll just say now, in as much as we could get some students in line, I think it's extremely important because I think it's good for the mental health. I think it's for just a whole bunch of different reasons for the kid's self. And I know there's issues with, you know, the parents and the working and that type of capability. But I'm just throwing that out there. I think in as much as difficult it is, if we can at least get some students in, I think that could be a very beneficial thing to a lot of students who maybe are having mental issues or social issues or, you know, I think it's just very important. But that's my 2 cents. And I know it's ahead of the game, but.
Yeah, and those, and like you said, those are all different scenarios. I know some schools have talked about making sure all the youngest kids get in there. who need that support even more, where older kids usually can do remote learning on their own and maybe they don't need to come in as often. So there's probably 1,000 different scenarios out there that we're going to have to look through. That's what we're going to be doing over the next couple weeks.
I just have a quick question for Elaine. So if I'm understanding you right, you would rotate every third day the different levels?
Well, he's in high school, and what they're already contemplating is have the freshmen all one day, have sophomores all the next day, and rotate it that way. I mean, we're obviously only, I mean, the younger schools have more in it, and I guess that would be difficult too. But I think my point is just basically rotate it out by year versus by per class. You know, instead of having 7th and 8th grade at the same time, but broken up. Maybe one day have all of the 6th graders, one day have all the 7th graders. And I know when you're talking kindergarten through 5, that it becomes a little bit problematic. But anyway, I guess the point is just more. I think the breakdown can be creative. You know,
So they would be on remote learning the other days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it would be remote learning on the other days.
Yeah, and what I think is important that we remember in all these scenarios is we can definitely do that as a school. Does that work for our families? For a parent who's working and so.
Right.
There's
Right.
so many things to consider. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah. Tiffany, I see your hand up.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to bring up the family aspect to that idea, but I also, most times when committees have been formed, there is representation on the board. So not even necessarily, I mean, maybe a little bit of a voice, but more so as a liaison for information purposes. And I just feel like this is too big of a task force not to have representation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I definitely think when it comes to anywhere close to decision making, I wanted people on, but I would never say that we can't have a board member on. So if anyone is interested, I'm more than happy to have people join us. We're going to be meeting during the days. I think tomorrow's is 12 to 2 and all the other Tuesdays are 10 to noon. So if anyone is interested and you want to email me, please feel free to do that.
Well, I won't be here tomorrow, so
Yep.
I can go next week probably, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll look. What is it, 12 to 2?
It's 12 to 2 tomorrow, and then every Tuesday after that, I believe it's 9 to 11 on Tuesdays after that. So, okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's everything for my other.
Okay, Kathy, you're up.
Hi, good evening, everyone. If you see me start walking, it's because we actually just got an alert that we have a tornado warning here in Mokina. So if I hear my husband and my boys go downstairs, you'll see me taking my information down there as well. Okay, wow, can't believe we're talking about finalizing FY20 with the amended budget. We posted the tentative budget because it needs to be posted for at least 30 days for public display. And so now we're going to be asking the board later in the meeting to approve the final amended budget. And the fund balance different from September till now is about a $400,000 increase in fund balance. And the reason is we conservatively do not budget for the additional evidence-based funding that the state is telling us we'll get. In this case, this year, we actually got $900,000 more than we budgeted, which is actually what they said we would get. Now, the increase in fund balance is only $400,000, and a little bit more on why is we did have a little bit less revenue for the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program since we switched to the grab and go meals. And then also we are shy one categorical payment from the state. We're not going to get it, but if we don't get it by next, in the next 2 weeks, it won't be posted until next fiscal year, but that will obviously just benefit our fund balances. So does anybody have any questions about the amended budget? Okay. Okay, so the next thing is just a little housekeeping. Every June board meeting, we need to transfer money to where the district needs it. And this year, you'll see $1.8 million in the O&M fund. Reason is we can only levy so much in the O&M fund, and we still had over 1.5 million expenditures for the geothermal project. And then the $330,000 is just an additional revenue we need to cover our transportation costs. Those do require a formal hearing, so later in the meeting, we'll have our budget hearing followed by that as well. Okay, then the next thing is summer food distribution. So today was the first day we are starting bulk meal service, and we will be offering on Tuesday and Thursday only. Family members can come and pick up meals for their children in their household 18 years and younger. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they can pick up 3 meals per child. So we do have the opportunity to serve and be reimbursed for 6 meals per week rather than 5, which I think is a great thing that our state is offering. I did want to bring you up to speed on something. We had an issue with the milk today over at Ridge Central, and with the distribution being outside, because unfortunately we're not comfortable yet bringing our families back into the school district, the milk has been exposed to a couple different temperature changes. So we did have a couple of complaints from parents saying the milk was spoiled even though the date was still June 12th. So what we did immediately is the custodians over at Ridge Central brought the cooler to the front of the building. And so we're going to have an extra milk delivery tomorrow. So anything that was potentially subject to any sort of temperature change, unfortunately had to be tossed. But we truly feel that, you know, making sure 100% that our milk is safe for our families was a priority.
Kathy, did they have ice in the coolers?
No, there's not ice in the coolers because what we do is we really just set it out for distribution. And I just think with this heat, it was just a little bit too much for it.
Yeah, it might be, maybe we should get at least even a small bag of ice that would help it control it.
Well, you know what? We really could invest that. It may just
Nothing.
some big coolers because it's certainly much closer now. I don't know if anybody's familiar, but with the pickup, both Ridge Lawn and Ridge Central will literally have access to those milk coolers within, I'm going to say like 30 feet.
Oh, okay.
So they'll be able to put out maybe like a case at a time and then run back and bring more. So I'm
Okay. Then, yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Sounds good.
Okay, and then I just have one other. Does anybody have any questions on the food service? Okay, we actually got our, it's called our tax agency rate report today from the county, and I was a little bit surprised. Our EAV actually went down 3.5 million. It was 154 million for 2018, and this year it's coming in at 151 million. When we budgeted for the tax levy, we said it would be flat. I'm a little bit surprised it was actually down. New construction was very, very low at only about 15,000. And what it really means is the EAV goes down. We're still levying for the same amount because we put in that balloon levy just in case. So what it means is the tax rate theoretically does go up. So our total tax rate for Chicago Ridge right now is 5.013%. And when I did the levy way back in November, we were hoping EAV would remain flat and the tax rate would be 4.909. So that just came in today, actually about noon. So I wanted to share that with you. And does anybody have any questions on that?
Real quick, isn't that what we saw in 2009 too? When, didn't that happen in 2009 also?
Oh, Nancy, you're challenging me here.
Okay, never mind, never mind. I'm pretty sure that's the way it was.
Yeah,
Probably
it's
has
so
to do
list-
with the economic downturn and like you said, lack of activity economically. And then hopefully it'll straighten out next
Yeah,
year.
because traditionally what happens is in the year of our
It goes up and, yeah.
and it goes up, and I want to say it goes up for about like 15%. You know, it's pretty monumental, and then it kind of levels out.
Right, right. It sounds like that's what's happening again.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Mm.
is that it then?
Yeah.
Okay, ready to go?
And no tornado. Mm.
Oh, you got the all clear? We have to open into a public meeting on, for the amended budget FY20. So we have the motion, am I not right? Make a motion?
You can just open this hearing.
No? Okay, so we're officially opening the public hearing. And we need the time, don't we?
It's 7:05 you opened it.
Right, that's what I got. Okay. Now I'm gonna go through the list of what we have to vote on, correct?
You have to close the public hearing if there are no questions. And I did not receive any questions by email.
Okay. Anybody here have any questions? So we can go ahead and close? Okay,
You can.
7:06. Ready? We're ready to go?
Well, now you
Sure.
can go down to 9.2 to
Right,
potential.
right. Potential board action to approve amended budget for FY20, and it's pouring again.
I'll make the motion.
I have Mrs. Callan on the second. I know her microphone was out, but I
Second.
started making the motion on the second. Mr. Hillman, I know is disconnected. Mrs. Callan?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Egan?
Aye.
Mrs. Lammel?
Aye, I made it back.
Mrs. Petropoulos is absent. Ms. Davenport?
Aye.
And Mrs. Salzer?
Aye.
And then 9.3, Nancy, if you want to open up.
Right, we have to open up another public hearing. Okay, we're going to officially open up a public hearing for the permanent transfer of educational funds to the OM fund and transportation fund. And the time?
7:07.
Okay, anybody have any questions from our audience? Anybody have any questions on the board? Okay, everybody sure? We're ready to go? Okay, it is still 7:07, and we'll close the public hearing. Okay, potential board action to approve permanent transfer of $1.8 million dollars from the educational fund to the O&M fund.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Callan?
Aye.
Mrs. Lammel?
Aye.
Ms. Davenport?
Aye.
Mrs. Egan?
Aye.
Mr. Hillman's still disconnected. Mrs. Salzer?
Aye. Okay, 9.5 is included in that, am I right? Permanent transfer of
It
funds.
was included in the public hearing, but we do have a separate action item on that, please.
So I'm going to do that now. Potential board action to approve permanent transfer of $330 million from the educational fund to the transportation fund. Wait, am I right now?
Sorry, can I-
330,000. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
330 million. Where do we get that? 330,000. Your motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second? Anybody?
second.
Oh, thank you.
That's
Ms.
a
Davenport?
Aye.
Mrs. Callan?
Aye.
Mr. Hillman's still on the disconnect. Mrs. Egan?
Aye.
Mrs. Lammel?
Aye.
And Mrs. Salzer?
Aye. Okay, we have more things to vote on.
And just so you know, Mr. Hillman did let me know that he did lose internet, so he's hoping he will get it back.
Okay,
Thank you.
I know, that's what happened to me.
And it looks like
Did not
Kathy is
connect.
taking sheltering in place, so.
yeah. Well, it stopped again, so it's off and on.
Yep.
So potential board action to approve collaboration with Partnership for Resilience for professional development, whole child consulting in the amount of $6,250. Motion.
Make motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
Mrs. Callen,
Aye.
Mrs. Egan,
Aye.
Mrs. Lammle,
Aye.
Ms. Davenport,
Aye.
and Mrs. Salzer.
Aye. Okay, another one, potential board action to approve Pearson Tell Progress Monitor Assessment Subscription and on-site training in the amount of $11,600.
Yes, and we had spoken about this one at a previous meeting. This is for our EL department because they do take the access test, and there's nothing in between to really see if what we're working on with them is really helping them to move. And we do believe that this will actually end up being under the $10,000 threshold, as we'd most likely have the professional development online. In case it is in person, we did want to get it approved by the board.
Okay.
You're looking for a motion?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mrs. Egan,
Aye.
Mrs. Callen,
Aye.
Mrs. Lammle,
Aye.
Ms. Davenport,
Aye.
and Mrs. Salzer.
Aye. 9.8, potential board action to approve payment for Forecast 5 Analytics in the amount of $11,456.
Yeah, and Forecast 5 Analytics is it's basically a database that we use here in the district office that just brings an unbelievable amount of information to our fingertips about all the surrounding districts. And it really helps us, at least it has helped me. I know Kathy uses it quite a bit to just make sure that we are on par with what's around us, and the amount of charts and graphs to be able to read it in different ways has just been really, really helpful for us. So,
Okay, motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Mrs. Lammle,
Aye.
Mrs. Egan,
Aye.
Ms. Davenport,
Aye.
Mrs. Callen,
Aye.
and Mrs. Salzer.
Aye. Potential board action to approve K-5 Illustrated Math Pilot in the amount of $21,557.78. Motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Mrs. Callen,
Aye.
Ms. Davenport,
Aye.
Mrs. Egan,
Aye.
Mrs. Lammle,
Aye.
and Mrs. Salzer.
Aye. Okay, next one, last one. Potential board action to change June 23rd to 2020 session to a special meeting.
and there are two reasons for this. The first one being that just with getting the final payables of the year done, it's important to do that, as well as with our bond. That is the next area on the bond timeline that we need to have a meeting for. So we need
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Ms. Davenport,
Aye.
Mrs. Lammle,
Aye.
Mrs. Callen,
Aye.
Mrs. Egan,
Aye.
and Mrs. Salzer.
Aye. Okay, we are, there's no other meeting reports, been with that, no more, no informational. 12.0, all right, Dr. Thorns?
Yeah. I still
Okay,
do not have.
visitors to speak?
I still do not have any emails from that room.
Okay, so we're good to go. President's prerogative. I think all of us have become more comfortable with the Zoom process, at least for board meetings. And I think it's been moving more smoothly than the first couple times, although they weren't bad, but I know I'm becoming more comfortable with the whole situation. I kind of miss seeing you guys in person, definitely. the interaction between each other, even though we only see our heads, and there's more to conversation, there's body language and everything else, and that's important in conversation and determining things. So that I missed too. But all in all, I think I think we've really come a long way since we first started this. So congratulations, guys.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to adjourn into closed session.
Yep, I'll go ahead and read this. Adjourn to closed session for the purpose of discussion of the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with the Open Meetings Act as defined in the Open Meetings Act, Section C1. The discussion of collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees as defined in Section 2C2. The discussion of minutes of prior meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act as defined in Section 2C21 for the purpose of review, approval, or release of such minutes. We will not be talking any security or litigation in this closed session.
Okay, so we need to motion to close the meeting.
Go to session.
Okay, thank you. And I got that at 7:15.
Right.
Mrs. Egan,
Aye.
Mrs. Callan,
Aye.
Mrs. Lammle,
Aye.
Mrs. Petropoulos. Oh, absent, I'm sorry. Mrs. Salzer.
Aye.
And I still have Mr. Hillman on to disconnect.
Yeah, and we lost Tiffany, I think. Did she already
No,
go?
I'm here.
Yes, she's
Okay.
still there.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause this, and then I'm
PM, we reconvened into open session. Okay, we have some things to vote on. Potential action on personnel consent agenda, Emily Menekes and Danny Van Layton. I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second,
Who was that? I'm sorry.
Greg,
How's
Who made
first?
this? Who made the second?
I'll
we need a
second.
Okay, Tiffany. All right. Mrs. Callan?
aye.
Mr. Hillman?
Aye.
Mrs. Egan?
Aye.
Mrs. Lammle?
She's muted.
There's
I think she might be paused.
can you hear us? Don't know.
All right. Ms. Davenport
Aye.
and Mrs. Salzer.
Aye. Board notification.
Mrs. Lammle, can you hear us now?
Yes, and I say aye.
Okay.
All right.
You want to take 15 too? Dr. Thorns?
We don't have anything on 15-2.
Okay, then we're good. Okay, potential board action to approve pay increases for school year 2021 for social worker. No, we're taking social workers and counselors out, am I right?
Correct.
So it's just school psychologists.
Mhm.
Okay, so for the school year 2021 for school psychologists of a 3.5% equal to pre-year contract. Motion.
I'll
I'll
make
make
a
the motion. I'll
Okay.
second.
I have Tirza on the motion and Mary on the second. Ms. Davenport?
Aye.
Mrs. Callan?
Aye.
Mrs. Lammle?
aye.
Mrs. Egan?
Aye.
Mr. Hillman?
Aye.
And Mrs. Salzer.
Aye. Potential board action to approve pay increases for school year 2021 for IT technician, superintendent's AP, secretary, payroll secretary, business manager, employee benefits, secretary, district office receptionist, parent liaisons, and district court courier in the amount of $1 per hour each Express contract.
I'll
Motion.
make the motion. I'll second.
I'm sorry, I did not get that. I saw Tiffany with the second.
Yep.
Who had the first?
I think Greg.
All right. Mrs. Lamb,
Aye.
Ms. Davenport,
Aye.
Mr. Hillman,
Aye.
Mrs. Egan,
Aye.
Mrs. Callen,
Aye.
and Mrs. Salzer.
Aye. Potential board action to approve pay increases for school year 2021 for maintenance engineer and support staff stipends of 3.5% equal to the CREA contract.
I'll make the motion.
Second? Anybody second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Mr. Hillman,
This is on 15.5.
it is.
Yes.
Yeah, aye.
Mrs. Egan,
Aye.
Mrs. Callen,
Aye.
Mrs. Lammel,
Aye.
Ms. Davenport,
Aye.
and Ms. Salzer.
Aye. Okay, 15.6, potential board action to approve pay increases for school year 2021 for lunch hostesses, substitute lunch hostesses to $10 per hour effective July 1st.
Oh, please.
For Illinois minimum wage requirement.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mrs. Egan,
Aye.
Mrs. Lammel,
Aye.
Mrs. Callen,
Aye.
Ms. Davenport,
Aye.
Mr. Hillman,
Aye.
and Mrs. Salzer.
Aye. Potential action on security measures as
Nope.
defined above.
We don't have anything left.
Oh, okay, so that's
All
done?
right, 15.8.
Okay. Potential action on resolution releasing closed session minutes and destruction of verbatim recordings 18 months and older. Motion.
I'll make the
I'll
motion.
make the motion.
Okay, I have Mrs. Egan on the first, Mr. Hillman on the second. All right. Mrs. Lammel,
Aye.
Mrs. Callen,
Aye.
Ms. Davenport,
Aye.
Mr. Hillman,
Aye.
Mrs. Egan,
Aye.
and Mrs. Salzer.
Aye. And we have no litigation, so we're good.
Okay.
So we need to motion to end the meeting. Are we right?
Mhm.
Okay, give a motion.
I'll make the
I'll make
motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All right.
7:44.